following Felix. Felix, you did a great job before. Really enjoy your show. Can't wait to be a guest on your show as we originally planned before the coronavirus. I'm actually just going to shut this off in the background. 1 second. And I'm checking to see that we're live now on the GovsRadio site. And then my next step would be to share it out to everyone. So my last show, I had some technical difficulties. I do a Saturday show called Cruising the Pike, Cars and Comedy with Tom Galati. And unfortunately, I started off with some technical difficulties there. The last time I did Quarantine Life, also had a few technical difficulties, but made the best of it. So did a little research before today's show, watched some videos on YouTube. I'm hoping that I'm starting the show better, and I'm going to use a better form of technology. So it looks like I'm live, which is great. I'm going to go into Facebook now and share it out with everyone. And then I can get to my agenda. So let's see if Govs Comedy Radio is live on Facebook. I saw that we're live on the website. We are live, which is great. I'm going to share this out. And let's see, share it out to a group. And I'm going to share it there. And I'm also going to share it out here. And maybe 1 or 2 more spots. But I'm going to share it out to Graz's page. Hope you don't mind, Graz. And I think this is the only other one. So as I mentioned, we're cooking with gas. We're live. And I'm really hopeful that when I watch this playback later, the show started much better than it has in the past, and the technology runs much better than it has in the past too. So I'm actually under a light too. So I actually feel like I'm on stage. I'm under a hi-hat, and I'm feeling the heat and feeling the pressure. And I guess that's a good thing. So I'm going to give a second here just to let it share out. Just take a drink of water, which strategically placed behind the screen, which is great. If you can see me on Facebook, I would ask you to please just comment below, because I'm just checking to see who's on right now. And I would love for anyone to comment so I know that you can hear me and see me properly. And of course, would love to always have a two-way dialogue. As I've participated in other shows, I would love for you all to participate in the show too. I'm going to jump to my agenda shortly. And I think I finally got it right. So hopefully Mike O'Toole sees this, because Mike has been awesome in terms of helping me get up and running. And I hope I make him proud by using some of the technologies that I'd like to use. I also have a friend joining me in a little while, a very good friend of mine who's the producer of 102.3 WBAB Roger and JP's morning show, Brett Fumara. I go back a really long way with Brett. He's in the radio business. I've always admired how he's been in broadcast for a while, and I'm glad I've stayed close with him. So I'm going to be introducing Brett in a little while when he joins onto the Zoom chat. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my PowerPoint presentation. Again, God willing, I got this right. I'm going to make this bigger now. And again, we're calling this Quarantine Life. Today's episode is brought to you by Tom Galati. Make this a little bit bigger. Put it in the center here. And now I'm going to go into PowerPoint. And so my start off slide here is kind of how we've all been feeling. Of course, I'm not going to say anything today that you haven't all heard recently. And what I wanted to do was share my approach a little bit. And again, I see Danielle Asher is watching. Hello, Danielle. Danielle was also great because in my last show where I had some technical difficulties, I was kind of down on myself a little. And I said, you know what, I think I'm going to wait until I'm back in the studio because I'm not happy with the technical difficulties. So Danielle, thank you for talking me off the ledge and saying everyone's having some technical difficulties. This too shall pass, and keep on keeping on. So thank you, Danielle Asher. So Here's my first slide. Again, not going to say anything that people haven't been seeing, thinking, or talking about, but we all kind of feel like it's Groundhog's Day, right? Like the days blend into each other, and even for work, it's really a challenge to differentiate the days. Even for my kids, we would always base it on one day they would have soccer, another day they would have Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, and the weekends, of course, always felt much different. The only difference there is we're not doing homeschooling those days, which is actually a good break too. But I consider myself to be a very positive person in general. I feel like I got that from my parents, where I try and only get upset about the things that are in my control. And of course, all of this is out of my control, but what is in my control, right? How I act around my family, how I stay connected to other people. I'm a very social person. So, it's, let me see actually if I can share both of this together for right now while I'm speaking through it. So let me do it like this for a minute. So, like I said, I'm a very positive person and I'm a very social person. So I like to focus on how I act towards other people. Hello, Bonnie Scalisi. Thank you for joining today. So I am focusing on all of those things and trying really hard to be a better husband, to be a better father. Things are cranking at work, which is really good. I work for an advertising agency, and it seems a bit of an anomaly that things would be good at work. We have had some clients pull back a little bit. Some of them weren't able to get product out of Asia fast enough in their manufacturing plants. Some have non-essential products and services. So of course, some of those clients have pulled back, but we've had plenty of clients who have actually increased what they're doing. Some of them have products and services that are considered essential, products that are on Amazon, food products and pet food products and things like that. And while Amazon is prioritizing those types of products and services, we have clients who are taking advantage of those things. So I thought I'd start off with again, that notion of, all right, it's quarantine day again, right? So I'm going to put this back in the middle. And I think I got this right because it's going smooth so far. I'm going to advance to the next slide here. And let me do that this way. So these are my children. I have a daughter who's in 4th grade and twin boys. She's 10, twin boys that are 6. They're in 1st grade. Thankfully, they're not in the same class because when we're homeschooling them in the same class, it's not going well. They're climbing all over each other, poking each other, touching each other, staring at each other, and stealing each other's snacks. So that's not going well. By homeschooling them together, and that's why they're not in the same class. But it actually, having twins, you could tell they're not identical, they are fraternal, but having twins is fun and challenging at the same time. I like to joke and say that my boys are like having 2 orangutans and my daughter's like having an old cat. If they were all like her, I would have 8 kids. She's always the one to say, hello, Father, how was your day today? And my boys, I can usually find them in one of the cabinets in the pantry with their feet dangling outside, saying that we're out of something because they've eaten too much of it. All right, I'm going to advance to the next slide. So this is what we've been encountering. This was part of actually a parade from our school district where all the teachers took part in a parade, and my kids loved that. It was great for them to see. It was a few weeks into the quarantine. So this was them sitting on the back of my pickup truck enjoying the parade. About a week after that, had to turn to Murph's famous Bloody Mary mix. This is the hot and spicy blend. It seemed like in the beginning, happy hour started a little bit earlier each day. And Murph's famous Bloody Mary mix, if you like Bloody Marys, Murph's is the way to go. It's local. Great guy from Rockville Center. And what's really interesting is he talked about making this homemade recipe at home on a Sunday with his family, the same way some Italians would sit around and make, pasta sauce all day. So that's where he came up with this recipe. It's distributed in many stores. Bonnie Scalisi saying, I have twins. That's great. Actually, I didn't know your sons were twins. I know you had two boys. I didn't know that they were twins. So something cool that we have in common. Um, so with the Murphs, what I think is really cool is it's very thick and it's very flavorful, especially the hot and spicy. So once you add a lot of Tito's, it thins it out a little bit, but it's nice and thick to start off with, which is great. So this was kind of a low point in the quarantine when the happy hour started earlier and earlier each day. I think at one point I made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then cracked a beer shortly after that. But I think we're back to normal and we're saving these for the weekends. The other thing I did was I started to kick it old school. Went for the first time in a long time, made English muffin pizzas. So I love these, and I forgot how much I love these. I'm glad my kids love them. Daniel, not so much. He's a picky eater. He's the Irish twin that I have. But my daughter and my son Dominic love these. So we've made these a couple of times, and let's just say that the Thomas's English muffin bags started to go very quickly once my kids realized how much they like these too. So Thomas's English muffins have been a great lunchtime treat, and I hope it's better than the pizza that they've been having at school. I see Daniel Asher before I move on. Daniel Asher's asking, where do you get the Murphs? I know they have it at Stop and Shop, and I've seen it at IGA. Not sure of other areas to find it, but if you look it up on Facebook, I know he's got a pretty active Facebook page. There might be other ways that you can get it, but Murphs is really, really good. So next slide here is a buddy of mine, Joe Exotic, talking about Carol Baskin. Actually, Carol Baskin's misspelled in this meme, but I love it. What's really interesting is we have a daily conference call at work where we check in at 4 o'clock each day. And it took a little while until everyone caught up with this series. But once everyone on my team started watching this on Netflix, this is Tiger King for those of you who haven't seen it if you've been living under a rock. But so this is Joe Exotic, and he's just one of the characters in this amazingly addicting series that is a lot like a train wreck. You start watching it and you can't look away. So this is just great because this has helped us get through the quarantine a little bit. My wife and I would look at each other and, after watching each episode and just say, is this real? Did this really just happen? It is such a shit show. It's amazing. So I'm going to go to the next slide here. I think I jumped too fast. So this slide here is Daniel, the one who doesn't love English muffin pizzas. He really doesn't like red sauce. So if we make pasta, he's the one putting butter on top. This was a joke, of course, but this started to help us get more work done once we found the blue painter's tape. Totally kidding, but we were having some fun, and I think one of the kids put this on his mouth. At least that's the story I'm going with. Next slide here is, I'm a big car guy, if you didn't know, from the weekly car show that I have called Cruising the Pike, Cars and Comedy with Tom Galati. Doing a lot of meetings through Zoom has allowed me to take advantage of this really cool background changer. And so I actually have a different one when I come up and I talk to my buddy Brett. But this has allowed me to have some fun with what I would want my dream garage to look like. And so I've been changing these backgrounds, and I took this screenshot to show that I am having fun with my make-believe virtual home office garages that I would love to work from one day. And I believe in the power of positive thinking. Georgia Rose, if you're watching this, totally believe in the secret and the power of positive thinking. So one day this will be my garage. So going to the next slide, this is me and Vanessa, where let's see, I'm connected and seeing the show. Good. I asked Brett to text me when he's on, so I'm going to be talking to Brett in a couple of minutes. So this is me and Vanessa cooking dinner. The other thing that we've been doing that I really like about the quarantine life is cooking dinner and sitting down to dinner pretty consistently at the same time every single day. And I really enjoy that. I think that's been awesome. My daughter Vanessa loves to cook, and so we've been cooking a lot using HelloFresh. So that, one of the home delivery, just like Blue Apron. where they send you all the ingredients and you make dinner. So we've been having a lot of fun doing that. So there's a picture that I took to remember all the times that we've been cooking together during the quarantine. Next slide here is Vanessa holding up a shirt. This was art class at school. So this was Vanessa taking a white shirt that he had that she had for the Michael Magro Foundation, and she made a cool tie-dye shirt out of it. And I'll talk about the Michael Magro Foundation in a couple of minutes. I sit on the board. It's a local foundation which helps families right here on Long Island that unfortunately are affected by pediatric cancer. And I run an event, a car show every year. This year it's August 24th. Hopefully it happens. But I'll talk more about that later today or in another episode, especially as I start promoting the car show, if, again, things start to get lifted and we can start to go back outside and gather again down the road. So I'm going to jump ahead to a cool shot. So this was the sky across the street from my house, I think about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And just thought it was really cool. And again, it's kind of forcing us to stop and quote unquote smell the roses a little bit. So I thought this was kind of cool where, you don't always, we're running around back and forth between Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, soccer. You don't always have a chance to just stop and look up at the sky. So I was out on the front porch. I was hanging out with the kids, looked up and saw this beautiful sky. And I thought, this is an opportunity for us to really enjoy that. Cool. And we would, talk about who our favorites were. John Mulroney was the host of that show. And I always thought he was a very, very funny guy. And what's been cool is a lot of people I've been connecting with through Governor's Comedy Club. There's a lot of really great, funny people that I've met. And, it seems like they're all connected to each other in different ways and different relationships. So someone I knew was connected to John. I reached out to him. I connected with him on Facebook, and we exchanged a few emails where I told him I'm finally following a dream that I set for myself a long time ago to start to do, or at least take a stab at live comedy. And I told him how, many years ago, I didn't want to make him feel too old, but many years ago, I would watch him when I was a kid. And it's been really a cool experience connecting with someone who you looked up to and thought was a really amazing entertainer as a kid. So it was fun connecting with John Mulroney. This is really cool, too. So this is Brendan Burke. He's the announcer for the New York Islanders, and he's also on Cameo. So for those of you who don't know, Cameo is a really cool app where you can ask, different types of celebrities to make an announcement for you, whether it's wishing someone a happy birthday, giving them words of encouragement. And what I thought was really cool was a good friend of mine who I went to elementary school with, Michael Perino, is working. He's a huge Islander fan, and he's working at CVS. And I think he also works at Stop and Shop. But I know he's nervous working, but he's doing it because he wants to be out there for people that need things. They need medication. They need the essentials. Of course, CVS is considered an essential business right now, and he's considered an essential worker. So again, longtime friend, huge Islander fan. He's working hard every day and trying to stay safe and healthy himself. So I asked Brendan Burke to make a video for him, and he did, and this is really cool. So I'm going to see if hopefully I can play this. And you can see it. So let me play it.
Hey, Mike, Brendan Burke here. I just wanted to say hi and thank you for being such a huge Islanders fan. But more than that right now, thank you for continuing to do your job through all of this. Yes, doctors and nurses are on the front line, but they're not the only essential workers. So for everybody that has shopped at your store, thank you to you and everybody you work with at CVS. Also, my entire life revolves around memorizing names and numbers. And I couldn't for the life of me tell you all the presidents in order. I couldn't tell you all the presidents in any order, names, numbers, or otherwise. So consider me impressed. Mike, stay safe, be well, and let's go Isles.
So what was really cool about this is a fun fact of Michael Perino is that he can recite all of the presidents forward and backward. I couldn't tell you who all of them are, but he can, and he can do it in order forward and backward. I had him do it over the phone for my kids one day, and when they were studying the presidents, and they were amazed. So Michael's a great guy. He's been a great friend, and I thought this was something really cool, and he was blown away when he saw this video on Facebook. So I shared this on his Facebook feed, and it's really cool. Hey, Ken Pichelle. So I think I have one more thing to share here. Let's see. Hopefully this goes well too.
Hey, Mike.
Hold on. So I know there's been a lot of jokes about every single person who's ever tried comedy or anyone who's ever played live music is doing some type of live Facebook Live or going on YouTube and doing something. And of course, part of that too is you've gone on TikTok and done some type of a video. So my 10-year-old daughter loves TikTok, and we have fun watching some of the videos together. And I said to her, you know what, let's take a stab at making our own. So this video that I'm about to share with you is one of the easier dances to do on TikTok. I think this is like the first level if you're going to take a stab at doing this. So I had a lot of fun doing this with my daughter and my two boys. So I'm going to play this right now, and I'm really happy that everything seems to be working well as I watch the feed down below. So hopefully you guys can see this too. So check this out.
Baby, come give me something on. Baby, come give me something on. Cause I can't stop loving.
So now I'm going to close this. And now I'm going to move this over, this screen here, make this smaller. So hopefully you can see me now. And I'm really glad that that went well. And that was a lot of fun. And so now I'm going to try and do a different video with them again, maybe just one with my daughter Vanessa. But I think, again, everyone's looking for fun ways to leverage technology a little bit and try new things. So look out for more TikTok videos coming from yours truly and probably my kids. So I'm going to move over to my other, so this is like my home studio now. I'm going to move over to my other computer because I figured out that's probably the best way for me to do this right now. And I'm going to be talking to my good buddy, Brett Fumara. So I'm going to move over there. First, I'm going to set this up right here. And let's see, actually, it might be even better if I do it just like that. I see you, Brett. And let's see if I move that like that and make that a little bit bigger. Just do it like this. I can't do it with only 2 window panes right now, so I'm just going to do it like this, and I'm going to move over, and hopefully, let's see. Actually, you know what? Let me lower this for a second. You can see this is very high tech because I'm over in the studio. All right, so I'm lowering the volume here, and I'm going to walk over here. Hello, Brett.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Brett?
Can you hear me? Let me hit this. Can you hear me?
Move this up here a little bit. All right, so you can hear me?
I can hear and...
All right, so you can hear me? This. Wait, maybe I can do that, then I won't be able to hear you. Okay, so should have been knocking on some wood that the technology was working very well before. Let me just see if I can lower this. I think that might be good. All right, so you can hear me.
Can you hear me?
All right. How you doing, Brett?
I'm good. Can you hear me and see me?
I can, and I'm hopeful that everyone can see you and hear you as well. I'm going to look down here. I see Ken Pichel's still on. Daniel Asher, Bonnie. If you guys can just confirm you as well. You look down here, just confirm that you can see and hear me. Now that I'm over at the other part of my home studio, I'd really appreciate it. But I think we're cooking. So
Garage.
Yeah. I've been having a lot of fun with that, as I mentioned before. Do you hear? Does it sound like I'm in the bathroom or in an echo chamber?
It does sound like an echo, yes.
Okay.
So flush, and let's get this going.
All right. So I wish there was an easy way that I could figure out how to remove that, but maybe we'll just keep it going for right now. Actually, wait. I wonder what happens if I do this. Ooh, that's good. Hold on 1 second.
Okay, I'm here. Stand by. Tom's going to fix this for everyone.
All right, so I think we're good. I can't get rid of that altogether, but let's move on. So we met at Nassau Community College.
35 years ago?
Felt like it. Definitely feels like it. It's 1995, right?
Yeah. So a solid
give or take.
I'm joking about 35, but we're not that far off.
So we were in a class together, environmental science.
Right.
And I've told people that I think it was one of those opportunities where misery loves company. And
Absolutely.
the guy, actually, it's funny, in retrospect, we joke around about him a lot. It was Professor Sitchko. And asked me what I had for breakfast yesterday morning, and I couldn't tell you, but this was Professor Sitchko in 1995. And he was the most strict professor I ever had, even when I transferred out of Nassau Community College. And I think he took this as an opportunity to say, okay, wake up. This isn't 13th grade here at Nassau Community College. I'm going to expect some real work out of you. And we were all like shocked because of that, right?
Well, absolutely. He had this way about him. It was no nonsense. There was no give. The class started 8:30 in the morning, right?
Yep.
And the reason why you remember that is because if you walked in at 8:30 and 1 second, you're late. The door is closed. Your homework is late, and I feel like he gave you a 0 for the day, or at least your homework wasn't being accepted. There was no nonsense with this guy.
You're right. And if anything was missing in something that you were handing in, that was it. It was a 0 versus, hey, can you just give me a 75 because I don't feel like doing the whole project? It was, you got a 0 because you didn't at least try.
Right. I still
just checking
when you and I talk, we still do imitations of him.
Yeah.
And he would always, like, when he would explain something, and that's that's science, or whatever. He was
one of those people. He was one of those people who liked to answer his own questions. He asked constant rhetorical questions. I know what you're thinking, Sitchko. I got to be here. I'm here at 8:31. You're going to mark me absent? Yes, I am. That was. And
he had a Jeep. He had a Jeep that at the time, and I wonder if he still has it. It had 250,000 miles on it, and he was so proud of it. And what was this? Did he have a secret?
Did he have what?
Did he have a secret for it lasting that long?
I think he just bragged about how he changed the oil religiously and took care of the car, and that's why it had a million miles on it.
Unreal. I wonder if he's still alive today. I don't even know how old he was back then. I felt like he was in
I don't know. But you know what? It's one of those things where it was tough at the time, and you felt like he was a pain in the ass, but you realize that we're probably both better off because of it, right?
Absolutely. He made you like you said, Nassau is considered by a lot of people a 13th grade, and, you're expecting to potentially cruise through a lot of classes. You were not doing it in this class.
Right.
And I think, like you said, misery loves company. We all bonded. And I don't remember anything from any other class, I don't think, throughout Nassau, but I remember that science class.
Right, that's true.
Because of it, we're here today, you and I. Right
and
now,
I can tell you about what?
Radio.
I can tell you about what? I can tell you about saltwater estuaries.
That's right.
All right, so please explain your current role right now at WBAB.
So my second go-around, my first go-around was producer of Roger and JP on WBAB 102.3, and we did that in the early 2000s for a few years, and left there, and I did traffic reporting at News 12 Traffic and Weather for about 10 years, and they changed the way they do things over there on that channel. And so they got rid of pretty much everybody, at least on a full-time aspect. I still did some freelance stuff there. But as far as a full-time job, I didn't have one. And at that moment, Roger and JP's producer at that time, now going on 6 years ago, it was just like perfect timing. They said their producer's leaving. Do you want to come back and join us? We worked it out. And here we are. So now 6+ years later, back with Roger and JP. Ratings are great, and we have a great time. And in addition to the show on Long Island on WBAB for the past almost 5 years, in July it'll be 5 years, doing a show on our sister station, All Talk, in Tampa, Florida, on 102.5, The Bone. And it's kind of like a hot talk station, kind of like what Opie and Anthony were, or the type of talk that like Howard does, where it's anything and everything. And so we do, we talk a lot on DAB, for those who don't know, but it's, a little stop and start with traffic and music and commercials. Not that we don't play commercials on The Bone in Tampa, but we're able to have a conversation, let it develop, and talk for 15, 20 minutes at a time, and then, take a break. There's nothing really holding us back, although both stations have their positives and negatives for that, where you're sitting at 15 minutes and you have to go to the bathroom. Okay, gotta wrap this up here. And then, we don't have Stairway to Heaven to play.
Right.
So it's great. Both shows have been, knock on wood, very, very successful, and I can't be happier at the moment.
That's great. And I've watched or listened to the show in Tampa online, and that's a really cool, fun show. More times than not, though, I'm able to catch Roger and JP in the morning. And can you explain a little bit about what your role is like typically, and then explain what it's been like recently? Because you guys continue to go into the studio, because to you, Roger and JP, it's important to have that real two-way dialogue with listeners, and that really can only happen in that type of environment. So if you could explain what your role is typically like, and then explain how you position years and handling everything with the virus right now.
Right. Well, my official title is producer. However, I'm sitting behind the board. In addition to being a part of the show, I'm controlling all the sounds you hear, any sound effects, drops that we play. I'm in control of the music, the timing of everything too. While being a part of the show, I do some character voices too, so I'll interject that. So just keeping the thing with my job, I'm always one step ahead. It's kind of tough being in the moment as much as we have to be. Always thinking that step ahead. Is that commercial ready to play? Do I have, the traffic vet here? Can I do a funny voice here? Can I say what I need to say and make sure that everything is where it's going to be and it's going to sound good on air? And so it's a big balance, and I forget how much I do until I take a day off and say the guys are still here and on a day where we're not off, and I have to hand off my responsibilities to someone filling in, and I list all the stuff. Wow. Or if you go back and you listen to the show, you're like, it sounds so different because you're in the moment. If you're going back and listening, it was really funny, or, I thought that was funnier than what it may actually have been. So, you're constantly growing, and like you do anything in life, critiquing yourself. So that hasn't changed through the quarantine stuff. What has changed, and I think CMG, our parent company, has been pretty on top of everything from go. I remember we had the county executives in studio, Laura Curran from Nassau and Steve Malone from Suffolk, on Monday, March 9th. It was right after the weekend where we first had our first few cases on Long Island, where it was 4 in Suffolk and 1 in Nassau. And we're like, whoa, it's here now. What do we do? So the county executives were in, talking about it, what the plan was, and thinking like, we got this under control, we got this. And now here we are over a month later, and it feels like 3 years ago when that last happened, and it was only 6 weeks ago. And now we have tens of thousands of cases just on Long Island, and everybody somewhere is affected by it. Going back to how I feel like CMG, our parent company that owns WBA, as I'll move around here, as our parent company was on top of it. I'm in the building right now. There's nobody here. Is anybody here? Nobody's here. All right. Okay. So I mean, that's what it is. No, they got rid of everybody so quickly. They were on top of things where they said, let's get everybody out of the building as much as we can. So we got the salespeople out, got management out. Everybody started working from home. They got all those protocols up and made it happen so that, God forbid, somebody's infected, because as we see, one goes down, the entire building's got to be closed. And so we've been pretty on top of that. So right now, it's essentially us in the building, me, Roger, JP, and Ted, who does traffic and news for us, as a big part of the show. It's us in the building, our midday guy, Joe Rock for BAB, and that's it at the moment. Everybody else is broadcasting from home at the moment, where they got to make like Fingers, our afternoon guy, he's got a makeshift closet, and he's at home, and he's literally broadcasting from his closet. Thankfully, we're in an age where technology, we can do that. That's why we're doing this right now, because of technology. Even 5 years ago, I don't think we could do what we're doing right now and still have it sound without skipping too much of a beat. You know, you've talked about your kids with school, you know, doing the Google Classroom and that stuff. It's changed everything. We were talking about it this morning, how there probably won't be snow days anymore. You'll stay at home if it's bad enough on the roads, but the kids will have to do their assignment. So that true snow day is probably gone. That's an
interesting point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Go back.
Yeah. I'm gonna go break the news to my kids and tell them Uncle Brett told them that there's no more school days, snow days.
Well, there will be snow days. You're just gonna have to do 3 hours of classwork before you get to go outside and play. So I'm sure they'll love that.
Going back to our Nassau Community College days, I wanted to share a funny story that I remember. You know, you were always running the show, so you were working at WHBC 90.3,
right?
And you were playing all the music that you like, right? And actually, that's what turned me on to actually some cool music too. There was some artists that I wasn't that familiar with, even some deeper cuts from Cypress Hill. And I remember I would call in and make requests just to have fun. And it would be like Mark from Regal Park. And we would have a lot of fun. I remember there was one time that I called in and there was someone in the studio with you. And I think it was we were making a contest. And I said, you said, oh, you're a winner. I said, no, I can't believe I'm a winner. And he said, yep, you're a winner, all right. It's such a funny contest that we were doing. But it was always cool. It was such a cool thing, even just back then, of turning on 90.3 when I was in and around the studio where the signal was the strongest, in between the classes and things like that, and listening to you on the radio then. And it just seemed like it would be such a natural fit for you to be doing this for your career.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky to have some form of going to what you went to college for to be doing. You know, I started at WLIR, which is right across the street from Nassau Community College at the time. It's now long gone, and I was just Staple Station on Long Island, like BAB is, and to work there, and then BAB, and be lucky to do what you love doing and staying in one place. That's the beauty with. I'm very thankful for. That's a lot of the problem with the radio too. A lot of people have to move, to wherever to finally get success. And I'm very thankful that I didn't have to move. I could stay here and do what I love and stay with family and friends, obviously you, and it's a blessing, and I don't take that for granted.
It's funny. That's the truth. When you're in radio, if you really want to be successful in radio, it usually involves uprooting your family at some point. You look at private parts. I would start with the name Starting Back. Talks about the different markets that he was in, and sometimes you just get fired from the station because you don't mesh well with the program director, or as in many cases, if you're really good, you start to move around to some different stations for better opportunities or better times for flexibility to play the music you want or the format you want, things like that. But you've been fortunate, especially now with even Bone in Tampa, that you can do that from, and broadcast it from, where's your studio? West Babylon?
In West Babylon, yeah.
West Babylon. And so, sorry. You're freezing, and I don't know if it's me or you. I'll talk for a minute just in case you because wait, are you okay now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Am I back? Was I gone?
Yep. I missed you.
I'm a big fan of your TikToks, by the way.
Thank you.
We say we met in college, 25 years ago. We actually met over TikTok videos. And we had TikTok battles. So we've only actually known each other 25 days, not 25 years.
You can follow me at Max24/7.
Of course, I knew that. We met,
By the way, how do people? You have a really cool following on Twitter and on Instagram. You're a very funny guy. I always think you're a funny guy, and there's a lot of things that you're exposed to now. With news and stories and people that are calling in and things like that. So, how do people find you on social media?
You can find me at Radio Brett. Radio Brett, all one word, BRETT. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and you can find me there.
Is that so? That's the same handle.
That's right. And you can also follow at Roger and JP on all the social medias too, at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So keep it nice and simple. No underscores, no plus signs, no stars, no 01. That's it.
It's not Radio Brett 69.
What's that?
I said it's not like Radio Brett 69.
No, none of that. Well, that's my special account. I only give that out to certain people.
What is your advice right now to families? Because your son is the same age as my daughter. Sue is working.
He's working, yeah. Again, very thankful. Her job, she wasn't able to work from home for the longest time. They fought it, and like a week before they made it mandatory to, everybody's got to work from home, they decided that she was able to do it. So thankfully, she's been doing that, because that would have been a mess if she had to, go to work like me, physically at work. And now they're saying, keep away from grandparents, keep away, and who do we have watch them? Who do we have watch our son? So she's playing the role of doing her work, as well as many other parents, being a teacher as well, with the Google Classroom and going back and forth with emails and virtual this and virtual that. It's almost like a welcome escape. Don't tell her, but very thankful to go to work. Very thankful. Please don't tell her that.
So
not have, you come home, you can tell it's like, oh, you got to finish his math work, or he didn't do this, or it's not consistent, but there's obviously days where she's got to get her stuff done and tag on it, and I'm at work at 4:30 in the morning, and we do 2 shows, so I'm physically at work for 10 hours before I come home, and then have to help. You're talking. It's lightened up a little bit, but talking about this, for 8-9 hours a day,
right.
We're not on the front line, and thank you to all our frontline workers. I can't even imagine what they're going through. But as far as from our perspective, for what we have to do, just talking about, everybody's trying. My wife tries to avoid the news, and here I am having to delve deep into it. So it's mentally draining, because it's real, it's around you. You have to talk to your kids about it, and I went to the park the other day, and I'm having a catch with my son. We're both wearing masks. There's people taking walks everywhere. We try to go to an open area, but just everything is an extra step, and it's I don't think it's going to change that much. I feel like the social distancing will, at stores, you'll see that probably stay even past this. I think just to be on the safe side. I hope when this is all said and done that people are just cleaner. You know, I've always been kind of conscientious and washing my hands. Oh, good for me. You know,
Right.
I'm just, you know, that's why I feel like when this first happened, it's like, okay, why are we being told to wash our hands? Because that was the big message. Make sure you wash your hands.
Right.
Sing happy birthday. Pick your favorite song. Sing it, and you'll be okay. And then your masks aren't necessary. Now they're necessary. You know, so there's a lot of conflicting information. So overall, I feel like do what's comfortable for you. If you want to wash down everything that comes into your, go for it. For me, it's always been kind of washing your hands, carry your sanitizer with you, try not to touch your face as much as possible, and you know, keep your distance as much as you. Whatever you feel you need to do, do it. Certain people are a little more extreme with it. You know, we've gone from doing nothing in the radio station, almost nothing. Now we have hand sanitizer everywhere. We're literally wiping down every time we come for, you know, to start the show. We're wiping everything down, and it just makes sense. So I hope that when this is all said and done, we're all a little bit cleaner, a little more focused on doing that stuff, so that maybe even the common cold will see less of that. You know?
Yeah. All right. So
with the kids.
We're getting ready to wrap up. I just want to remind everyone we're chatting with Brett Fumara from Roger and JP in the morning to 102.3 and 102.5 down in Tampa, The Bone. So please check out those shows. Both awesome. I've spent time listening to both, and I love the fact when you interject and some impressions, anything like that. I always feel like it adds a lot to the show. What is your best impression? I feel like you were able to use Gene Simmons as a format of 102.3.
Whenever Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons from Kiss. Hey, people! I know! I want to come out there! I want to see you! Wash your hands first, no! Here's the thing with Kiss, as Gene Simmons, by the way. The thing with Kiss is that we're not selling masks. We don't do that. We give back to the people. By the way, for every donation of $47, you get yourself a free Kiss mask. Protect yourself, protect your loved ones. Again, we're not selling it, but if you make a donation for $47, we'll make sure we'll get you that free mask coming up.
That's awesome. Thanks a lot, buddy. Really appreciate you joining the show today, talking about corporate life and helping us understand how you're coping and what you're doing at this radio station. So thanks a lot, buddy. I love you, man.
Love you too, bud. Thanks for having me on. Be safe, everybody. Please wash your hands.
Peace. So I'm going to go sign off on my other computer here. Stop the video here. Thanks, Brett.
See you, bud.
All right, so I'm coming back over to close this up. I'm going to put this up here, and I thought I would come over here to say goodbye to everyone. I'm really happy with the way things went much better than before. I have to figure out how to get rid of that echo, so maybe I can chat with Mike O'Toole, and he can help me figure that out. But I think that's the only thing I really need to work on right now from a technology standpoint, is that when I'm using Zoom, getting rid of that echo. But I really appreciate everyone logging on today. I do love watching Knock 'em Dead comedy with Tony and Sally every day, or at least as much as I can, because that was a good routine that I was getting into before. I worked from home for an ad agency, as I mentioned before, and it's been that has been a good thing for me since I'm working from home and I'm a social person. I felt like I started to get to know Tony and Sally and Eric at the time. And I love seeing the show on now because they're both really likable. It's a nice open format. Lately, they've had some great guests, some great comedians and some great entertainers. Love when Mark White dials in, and they're just really, really nice people. And I love that they're taking the effort every day and going into the studio and making everyone smile. And I'm hopeful that that's what my show can get to one day, that people will miss it if they don't see it. People get excited to see me if I'm performing on the stage or doing my show. I have a lot of really great ideas of some great guests and great things to do in the studio, some great games I'm hoping to play, and ways to continually try and make the show funnier. But really happy to be part of the Govs comedy family. Some really great people I've met along the way. One person I really want to call out to is Don Sill. Excited to be on Put Up, Shut Up, Stand Up one day soon. I had plans. We had a date set. I can't wait till your show gets back to its regular format, even though I love what you've been doing on Saturday nights. But I'm excited for that show because I want to be on it. I want to have a lot of fun. I think you're a great guy. I think you're really funny. And, really excited about, this, everyone getting back in the studio again. So everyone be safe out there. Make the best of the situation. Be the best person you can be. And stay safe. Talk to you soon. Bye.